Hey Turner, it's so great to see you again. It's been almost 2 years since the BB24 finale. How has life been for you since leaving the Big Brother house?
Listen, now that I'm seeing your face again after missing you the past month, it's even better. It's crazy. Our slightly developed relationship from seeing you interview me then to seeing you at premiere finale the couple weeks ago at the BB26 and now here. So, I've been great. Life's been so much different after Big Brother, and we are so back, as the kids say.
So these 2 years have flown by, but what has been the most challenging part of transitioning back to normal life after Big Brother?
Dude, it's so funny. Maybe I'm like, maybe I'm too chill, but like, I don't know. I had literally no issue adjusting to the real world after Big Brother. It was just so fun. Everything just seemed better. It was like I put my life through a pack-a-punch machine, quick Call of Duty reference, and yeah, it's just been all vibes. Like, TikTok Riz party slang happening, but like, no, it's just been so fun, and everyone is so great for the most part. And it's just, I mean, I don't even have the same job as I did when I had the thrift store. I got off, I sold the thrift store. Beautiful apartment now, living life, living my best life, truly.
So, like you already mentioned, we met recently for the second time at Oz's New York City party premiere. So, how are you enjoying going to these Big Brother events?
Oh, dude, it's so fun, especially seeing people that I mean, probably every Big Brother alumni says this, but like being accepted into a community, people that you already knew them, but like they didn't already know you, if you know what I mean. So, like people you're a fan of embracing you. Like I've become close friends with Paul from BB 18 and 19. Is that the seasons? But either way, I was a huge fan of him. And then now we're homies. And that's the same thing for so many other people. Even the Big Brother 23 cast. I mean, I haven't talked to really anyone from 21, but I mean, whatever. That's such a cool feature of being at these events.
So, we were able to chat briefly, and I met many other great alum. Who were you most excited to meet for the first time, or who were you most excited to catch up with?
Let's see. It was really cool actually meeting Xavier. I've never met him before. We've talked briefly via DMs, and same with Josh Martinez, who's such a sweet guy. He's so funny. So both of them, I didn't even know they were gonna be there. And then to see them was great. Other than that, Jag was really cool. He's like also the nicest guy ever. So many people, everyone's just so nice there. Jag is really awesome, and same with his brother Jazz. So all four of them were fantastic seeing. Did you have anyone
Yeah.
that you were really excited to meet and then you met and then you're like, oh my God?
I mean, the top people that I wanted to meet were definitely Taylor and then American Corey, and they were too difficult to get to speak to
Oh
them.
yeah, dude. They're crushing it. They're so sick. Yeah, love them. When they're in Providence, we hang, and whenever they come back next time we will. But they're great company. And also, yeah, even catch up with like from my season. Amira was great to see. I haven't talked to her in a while. Joseph, although I saw him like a week before and we talk every day, he was amazing to see as always. And then Jasmine, my festy bestie, how could I forget her? And Taylor, of course, but we talk.
Yeah, I was able to meet Joseph for the second time. I'm going to do an interview with him later in the season. I'm going to do an interview with Amir in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's exciting. Hell yeah, they're both great people. Love them.
Yeah. So transitioning to Big Brother 26, who are your early favorite house guests this season?
Well, dude, I don't think anyone will be surprised to hear me say Quinn. I love him, think he's great. And also, I tweeted this but like a couple months ago. He like sent me a video idea and like woodworking tips on DMs. And so when I went to follow him, I checked our DMs and saw that, and I was like, oh, what a nice guy. And he's talked about me on the feed, so I love that. But other than that, let's see. Like, dude, the beef of Angela versus like different platforms is crazy because like on Twitter it seems like people love her, Facebook people can't stand her, and maybe Instagram is somewhere in the middle. But that's like my perspective on it. But dude, I think she's so fun to watch. Like I don't know, she's just so entertaining. Like, what do we want? Like, dude, I feel like the average person, maybe not even the average person, but what I've seen online, it's like, bro, they would just rather watch paint dry than any arguments in the house. I think it's so interesting to see her like just going off at random ass people. It's always a surprise what she's gonna be doing that day. So she's fun to watch. And I guess those are my like standout two right now. I think Leia, however you pronounce that, it's really fun as well. Do you have any
Yeah.
standout favorites?
Definitely Leah. And then I would say that the girls, probably T Core, Rabina.
Oh yeah, T-Core's great. I forgot to name her, but she was like my standout pick when the cast released. And she still is great. I just forgot her name.
Yeah. So talking about early favorites, let's talk about your fan perception the preseason Big Brother 24. You were not
Oh hell
loved by
yeah.
Twitter by any means, myself included. I admittedly before in the preseason, you were 16th in my list of ranking favorites. So how do you feel about first impressions and the importance of not jumping to conclusions?
Dude, it's so funny you say that because like I feel like I don't I don't think there was one list that I was not dead last on for anybody, any of the alumni, any of the fan base, any of the creators. And so like I get it, bro. It was just so crazy preseason, and thank God I couldn't see any of it because that definitely would have affected my like decision making in the house. So I think it just goes to say like be lenient with any of your judgments preseason, but I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but am I unique in that it was like usually it's not that bad for somebody preseason and it doesn't flip how it does. I mean, granted, I had my ups and downs. I feel like throughout the rankings, I was everywhere depending on the week. So the first few weeks I was all the way at the bottom for like popularity rankings. Then I went to near the top, and then Dire Fest came along near the bottom, and then maybe it started going back up towards the end. But yeah, it is what it is. I don't hold that against literally anybody. It was just such a crazy time. And now with everything coming out online about, one certain creator, it's like, hey, I was just so ahead of my time. And I still haven't talked to my sister in many, many years, so whatever.
I think you're pretty much the top of most people's list now, so that's all that matters.
Yes, we so did that. Now that I make stuff with wood, now I've taken on a whole other career path.
So we started talking about Angela, I would say Facebook's least favorite house guest. Do you subscribe to the theory that she could possibly be a production plant, having already appeared in Dr. Phil, Price is Right, Let's Make a Deal?
It's funny because like I feel like there's other shows where they're just random ass people that are on everything. Like I don't know, Johnny Bananas. Hasn't he been on like 36 seasons of different television shows? And yet whenever I see him, I'm like, this has got to be the most boring person I've ever watched. Nothing happens. And so I don't know. Then I see Angela and I'm like, okay, she's extremely unique. She is starting arguments at a whim for literally no reason and just super entertaining. So I'm like, even if she was a industry plant per se, who cares? She's fun to watch. And like I don't know, I saw her like I don't know the Dr. Phil to Big Brother crossover rate, but it's got to be 0% because there's no like it's not like she was on the challenge or Survivor and went to Big Brother. And for the same reason I don't think anyone was calling Saria plant, so it is what it is. If she was really really boring, then I'd be like, okay, I see it. But who cares at this point? She's so fun to watch, at least in my opinion. Maybe people will see me condoning her actions, which really I'm not. She's I think a mess, but like it's just for the love of the game and just something interesting and unique.
Well, did you see that Brooklyn was also on Dr. Phil?
Oh, is she? I didn't even know that. That's so wild.
Yeah, so people thought it was ironic that there's 2 Dr. Phil people on the season.
Yeah, what the hell are the odds of that? So it's funny. I just said Dr. Phil 0% crossover rate, but maybe we're starting something. That's wild. We need to get Daniel Bergoli on Big Brother next.
But part of why I could somewhat believe the production plant theory is I could see Mackenzie's power, the America's veto twist, that Mackenzie could use it at some point, and then America decides her placement nominee, and they put up Angela, and that could be what takes her out of the game. That's a little suspicious to me, that twist.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
I think I can see that's how Angela goes out.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that. That's wild. Yeah, I could definitely say at this rate, I totally agree with you because it seems like there's this like hidden community over on like Facebook that granted I go on Facebook like once a year to look at Facebook Marketplace, but there's these like little secret brother like hive minds that the same people who like voted Kyle AFP might also be literally hating Angela, so they clearly have some pull. I have no idea what the hell is going on over there.
But then also there was Tyler from Big Brother 20 that he was on, if you remember, Kevin Hart's like new Wipeout type show like a few weeks before he was on Big Brother. That was
another CBS show. That's maybe it's like, do you think the crossover could just be a recruiter saw them, and still if you're a recruiter, they have to go through the application process. It's not like it's really any easier time other than they reach out to you first. So it's like a recruiter just sees them from that, because I'm assuming recruiters are watching all these types of shows. It's like, oh, let me reach out. They still have to apply, still have to go through all the same things, nail these interviews. But like, I feel like that could be something. Who knows?
Yeah, I think he was in casting for both, and he got on that show, and they liked him on that show. So like, all right, we might as well bring him to Big Brother too.
I agree, because like I think Joseph they wanted he was in Love Island. Joseph BB24 was in Love Island casting, and then he was like, oh wait, actually I don't want to do that. And then it was Big Brother, and then if he didn't get on Big Brother, he would have done Survivor. So it's like there's like these little secret societies of casting. Plant or not, it is interesting to see how that all works.
And what are your thoughts on Kenny? He's from Massachusetts, like you were on your season. What do you think of him wanting to leave the game for Matt?
Dude, so at first, like before the show started, I was all gung-ho on Kenny and Tucker specifically because they were from Massachusetts. Granted, Tucker is in New York now, but same thing. Massachusetts love, like last year, Riley, Maine, close enough to Massachusetts. I was a supporter. So, like I was pro Kenny, but now that he's just like, yeah, kick me out of the game, whatever. It's like, bro, do you even care about the show? Like, wasn't it like his dream to get on the show? Then one person leaves and he's like, get me the hell out of here. It's like, I remember when I put Amira and Terrence up last year. I never publicly talked about Terrence, but he was saying the same thing. It's like, what is up with all these like older people just being like, get me the hell out of here? At least like, I don't know. It's so weird. So I'm anti-Kenny now, I suppose. Not personally. I don't know much about him personally, but as far as that goes, if you want to get out, just get the hell out. I had many. I feel like every week I was having a friend get kicked out of the house. Like, on my embarrassing week 1 where I was crying about Paloma, whatever. At no point was I like, get me out of here. Then I had Pooch leave. I wasn't like, get me out of here. I was like, oh, okay, you need to just adapt. It's so melodramatic to be like, let me leave. Like, that's crazy.
We'll get into Paloma later, but yeah, I thought Kenny was going to leave. I'd already started preparing my interview questions for Kenny, because I thought there's no chance that Matt's not going to win the AI arena, and then they'll vote out Kenny. I didn't think production would let Matt leave.
Yeah, that I don't know. People do. I would have loved to see Matt stay in the house, not because I think he's the best player, but just because it seemed interesting to watch that dynamic between him and other people in the house. But now we have like horny Matt Instagram comments to look at, which is so weird. So we still have a little bit of him to watch.
He already followed my page, so I support Matt.
Yes, love him for that.
Yeah. So you already mentioned Quinn as someone that kind of reminds you of yourself from this season, but is there anyone else on this cast that reminds you of someone from your season?
Oh, that's a good question. I know, just to mention Joseph from my season again, we were talking about how that Quinn and Joseph's dynamic reminds us of our dynamic. So maybe Joseph to Joseph, funny enough. Let's see, but it's also hard to not see how someone looks and want to compare them to that. Like, I've also seen like, well, okay, in the most platonic friendly sense, obviously, like Quinn and Leia seem to be getting along really well, and Leia's seemingly similar to Alyssa from my season, who I'm very, very good friends with. Obviously the flirting totally aside, but like I feel like it is hard to, it's mostly like looks almost, but then Quinn, to me, I just feel like we relate so well.
But I think Quinn was a little more knowledgeable about the game coming in than you were, probably.
Yeah, dude, I feel like 90% of people are more knowledgeable when I was going in, and like maybe that played to my strengths. I don't know. I do understand now, looking back at it, how when you're watching the game, it is so easy to be like, can't you just do this one thing? It would help you so much. But then, at least me in the house, I was like, oh, damn, that's crazy. I don't know, whatever. Similar to how I am now. And I guess my biggest takeaway from the show, if I was to go back, was people said I, followed what other people recommended, which honestly, I watched my season. I was like, yeah, actually, I get that criticism a lot. Well, not get it a lot, but like I understand it a lot. Although I also get it a lot. Which I don't know if I agree or disagree with, just because like, I feel like that helped me being so democratic in decisions and adaptable, but also I could just be coping. Who knows? It was a while ago, but maybe I don't know. I've heard I'm a good player and I've heard I'm an awful player. I'll just take it in the middle and say I was mid.
Yeah. So this season didn't.
Yeah.
This season didn't have a live move-in, where the past few seasons did. Were you disappointed with no live, and which do you prefer?
So I was in Trader Joe's the other day, and I swear this will circle back in like 5 seconds, but I was in Trader Joe's and they were talking about Big Brother. Weirdly, it had nothing to do with me. No one recognized me or anything, but they're talking about Big Brother, and they're like, oh yeah, that crappy AI theme. And I was like, oh, that's so funny that even like just people out in the world know about it and don't like the theme. But honestly, I've come around to it when they were like at the drop of the theme, when they were like, oh yeah, and guess what, it's AI themed. I was like, yeah, of course it is. How is that expect the unexpected? That's so obvious. But now that like we've gotten into the competitions, and the awful animation aside that they clearly hired someone from like Fiverr to do, I actually like it. And I like how the no live move in like tied into this like strategy based decision. And I know a lot of people didn't like that, but because it kind of went the opposite way. But the no live move in with those competitions and splitting people into two comps for like a benefit or a negative to their game, whether they like did it the best way, I do like that they're trying new things. And I love the AI arena. That just like adds another element of gameplay to it. So I don't know. I honestly love the cast, production choices, and like everything going on with the show this season. And I was very critical of last season anyway, so like maybe it's just good to get something different.
Do you think the no live movement thing is going to only be a this year thing because of the twist, or do you think this will become the moving forward, it won't be a live move-in?
I don't know. I feel like it's good to change it up every now and then, but live move-in or not, I've always been so indifferent the past few years when I'm hearing people talk about, oh, yay, it's live move-in. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's a thing. Or, oh, no, it's not a live move-in. It's like, oh, okay, that just seems like I'm just excited to watch the season. I don't really care if I see them move in or not. They're going to show the clips of it. Do you have an opinion or a strong opinion on live move-in or not?
Well, I think the fans want to see the night one feeds, where this season you can't see the feeds until night 3. They want to see, right when they move in.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I'm indifferent. It could go either way, and I'm going to enjoy it the same because, like, in the grand scheme of 80-something days, yeah, I can wait 2 more. Like, it's okay. Like, they'll still be there.
Yeah. So talking about the AI theme, the houseguests were given the option to vote a 17th houseguest into the game on premiere night. Would you have voted for Ansley to come into the game?
I think I would. Well, okay, so here's the thing. Watching from the couch of my home and seeing this all happen, because I went to the premiere, but like I didn't see it. So then the next day when I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, in this moment, watching this, I don't think I would. But the excitement of being in the house, I do think I would have. So, it's neither here nor there. But like, I think it's interesting that people who made the strategic move of saying, no, you can't come in, got punished. That's the one thing I feel like I might have been critical of night 1. That was weird. But if I was really in the show, I think I probably would have, just to be nice and let somebody else in, right? And yeah.
Did you ever think that the 17th player was going to be a returning houseguest? Because that's what I thought it was going to be.
That would have been interesting. I didn't, because maybe I take them too literally when they have those as like press announcements and text on like Entertainment Tonight or something, when they're like, yes, 16. Oh, well, 16, I guess that answers it. But new house guests, all new house guests. So I never really thought anything of it, but I did think maybe like a Survivor player again, or just some other crossover like that. But it would have been cool. I'm pro like returning players. I feel like in the past few seasons I've been like, oh, what if they have like 4 captains or something, and then other new people? I think that would be interesting. If of course, if you like the returnees.
Yeah, it's just the 17th houseguest thing was so hyped up that I thought it would actually be something, not an actual person.
Yeah, I guess it was a little like dramatic how much they hyped it up, and then we're just like, psych, not actually. It's like, okay, well, I guess you could have hyped it up maybe a little less if you're just gonna do a damn Fiverr animation.
What's been the biggest surprise for you watching this new season?
That is a good question. The biggest surprise, I guess. What's been the biggest surprise for you while I think of a question? I mean an answer.
How cracked Angela's been.
Dude, yeah, I was gonna say that, but I was like, I don't know if that's a cop-out, but I fully agree. Like that, because out of looking at all the players, at least me, I wouldn't have expected that from her. Maybe some other people, but yeah, and especially the divide on whether people love her or hate her, and I feel like there's not many people in between. Like watching with my family, watching with a big group in my family, it's even split. People going, oh, hate her, we need to get her out of here, or like, oh my god, we need her to stay the whole season. So I guess that specifically, yeah, I agree.
And then another surprise for me was Matt just going out so early. He was actually my winner pick, and I had gotten, I think you might have seen this, I've gotten the last 3 winner picks right, Xavier,
Oh,
Taylor,
wow.
and Jag. So all my followers have been on me about, oh, you finally got one wrong, and it was the first boot.
That's wild. Yeah, actually I thought he might have been out early because I guess he's not like the Italian guy that usually gets out early, but maybe the closest to it. Like we had Brett, whatever, Pooch and him, and I feel like they all kind of give the same. Maybe I'm wrong by that, but I could have seen him going out early. My winner pick has been Takor and Quinn. I don't necessarily know if either of them will win, but I want them to win.
Is there anything else, BB26, you want to touch on before we talk a little bit more about your season?
Let's see, BB26. No, I don't know. I can't imagine it. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your season. Looking back, is there anything that you wish you would have done differently?
So, like, in retrospect, there are moments I wish I did. Like, for example, I guess other criticism I get of you should have done this differently is why did you vote out Alyssa at the very end? You know, I always get that. And, love Alyssa, again, one of my closest friends outside of the house, even inside of the house. But the decision to vote her out would have been completely contingent on if she could win the next HOH. And she hadn't won any comps thus far. So why? And she definitely wouldn't have won that one, just peace and love. So it's like, why would I be like, if I backstabbed Monty, who was my ally, just as much as Alyssa even, went behind his back, kicked out someone he was really close with, then kept Alyssa, people would have been kind of gunning for me next. I feel like I just would have been out 4th if that happened. So I really don't regret that, even though I get some criticism on that. And I guess Direfest, I could have been, maybe I still would have kicked out Joseph. Love him. Literally probably my best friend. But, he would have went back inside, worked with Taylor, with Monty, Michael, Brittany. And then I feel like I still would have been on the outs in that situation. So, like, I'm glad I did it. Love you, Joseph. But I'm still glad. I could have definitely been nicer about it. But other than that, like, really, no. Still, I feel like I had chaotic and fun HOHs. Even if people, like, okay, people every season recommend things for HOHs to do, but they either do it or don't. I just feel like I took the best recommendations, utilized it, and then still somehow wasn't a target. Again, I could be coping hardcore, but I feel like other people take recommendations and then it's not a bad thing. Maybe, again, too chill. I don't know. I don't really care, but like that's my take. What do you think about it? You let me know.
Well, you were doing something right because you were the last person on your season nominated, you and Jasmine. So
that is so true. And it was the very last because it was like 10-minute difference from Jasmine. So we are so up. And the only reason I was nominated was because I hadn't been nominated. It seems like Terrence said, unless he had another plan. I forget kind of what happened at Direfest, but that rings familiar.
Do you regret not voting for Taylor to win and ruining her unanimous win?
It could go either way. In the moment, like, I do remember listening to the speeches. I was like, if I don't win, quite literally, I don't care who does. And maybe that's such an asshole thing to think. But at the same time, I remember getting out of the house, people were like, why did you vote for Monty? And my go-to response was like, oh, that's what I thought everyone else was doing. But stepping back from that, I in the moment, I don't think I was thinking anything. I don't think I cared, was like, whatever, it's not me. And again, that's probably such a dick move, but I was like, whatever. And so honestly, Monty was my close ally up until the end. Granted, now I talk more to Taylor than I do to Monty. It's been a few months since I spoke with him, but she won either way. I guess whether it's unanimous or not, $750,000 richer. Who cares,
And obviously you weren't feeling bitter at Monty at all because you voted for him even after he evicted you?
Yeah, no, I really do think it's crazy when people lose that comp. Like I remember Nicole, this isn't really even my beef to get into, but with Nicole Franzel and Cody, and then hearing she never spoke to him again after that. It's like, bro, chill the hell out. That's crazy. It's like if Monty in his brain, he was like, yeah, I think this is what's going to get me richer. Like, granted, it would have been in his best interest to let me win, take him to the end. Like, him losing that final comp would have changed his life. He should have lost because he would have beat me anyway. But surely he knows that. Sorry, Monty, if you're watching this. I'm not trying to drill that into your head. But like, yeah, what the hell was I answering? Sorry, dude. I'm like Captain Yap.
No, you're saying you're doing good. What do you think the vote count would have been if it was you and Monty in the end? Do you think it would have been close to unanimous?
Yeah, definitely. People were so mad at me, and when I walked out, and then when it went to commercial break, everyone was like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" Like this, that, and the other thing. I was like, "Bro, I don't know. I was having fun. I didn't think much of it. I had like tougher weeks than others. Some weeks were really hard on me in the house, but for the most part, it was just a great experience hanging out with friends. And then like there was this meme of Andy dropping his toy cowboy from Toy Story, and it's like Turner when he's done with one of his friends in the house. And I was like, yeah, I guess like my bad about the siren, but I guess low key that was me. But it is what it is. Whatever. It's just a game. I feel like overtime.
Week 2.
Dude, I know. Isn't that funny? And we didn't talk for like a year, and we made up at the whatever, we were just at that event. And so yeah, I'm happy to call him a friend. And again, like the outside world, it's just so much different. And so when you're on the inside, now I watch and I'm like, why the hell are you voting with the house? Like, what does that even mean? But in the moment, I was like, okay, everyone's voting Pooch out. If I don't, then I'm gonna be the one singled out, and then maybe get voted out next week. I won that HOH anyway. It didn't really matter, but if I didn't win that HOH, I would have been the week 3 evictee for sure. So it's just like, everything's meant to be. Whatever happened, it's meant to be.
So talking about the outside world, who have you kept in touch with from your season?
Oh, good question. I guess like there are some people who I talk to here and there. That being maybe Amira, Monty, Taylor. But the people who I really, really keep in touch with, talk to on a weekly basis or even a daily basis is Joseph, Alyssa, Schneider, and Jasmine. I probably talk to them the most, and I talk to Brittany a fair amount. But definitely, if I was to rank the top 3 people I talk to, Jasmine, which to everybody's surprise, Alyssa and Joseph.
So you said Joseph is like your best friend. So how happy are you that Marvin was cut from the Big Brother 24 cast and replaced with Joseph? And has anyone from your season ever reached out to Marvin?
That's funny. I know Joseph has talked to Marvin, and no, I haven't. I think he might be the only one. Really, I have no idea anything about Marvin, but I'm very stoked that he was not on our cast list, because I mean, it was very contingent for Joseph to be in the house for the leftovers to form. Like otherwise, that just wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have been possible, because every single, it's like the butterfly effect. Every little thing changes the outcome of the game. So if there was no Joseph, there would be no leftovers, seemingly.
Do you watch The Circle? Did you ever see the season of The Circle that Marvin was on?
It's funny. I think the only show I've ever watched as a reality show is Big Brother. I've never seen Survivor, or I guess I've seen some episodes of The Challenge with like my friends on it. But other than that, no Circle, no Traitors. I'm like, if they're not going to cast me in it, which it's not, I don't have a good track record now, then I don't really care about it. Again, that's such the vibe of me not caring who wins Big Brother, but it's like, I got other things to do. I can't be, watching all these things, but I do get recommended to watch The Circle and The Traitors all the time.
Talking about Jasmine, I watched your friend Ethan Animal's YouTube video yesterday about the easiest competition when it's a Big Brother, and I saw your comment about how you were biting your nails during the POV competition where Jasmine passed out. So can you talk about your friendship journey with her, from being enemies on the season to becoming close friends after the game?
Dude, it is so funny because like you're really not always meant to live with your friends. It's like I live my best friend, my childhood best friend, who we went to high school with, and we still talk every day now, play Fortnite together every day. But same as David, and we lived together, and we just like clashed heads in like every single moment of our relationship. Before living together and after living together was great, but living together just did not work. And so I really feel like the same vibe is from Jasmine. Like we met living together, and so our relationship started off really rocky. I mean, I would go to say we both actually hated each other, which is not a word I use lightly. Like we could not stand each other. But then after the house, I feel like she's a very wise woman, and so actively go and reach out for advice from her. And I feel like she has a lot to say that's very helpful to me, or like any of her friends. She's just very helpful to have in your life. And so yeah, we've definitely had a rocky relationship at the beginning, but I'm glad we were able to form such a tight bond, and we have matching tattoos, which is crazy. Especially because like if someone told me that at her birthday party, when I was going freaking nuts listening to everyone compliment her by her own accord, like, yeah, I mean, it was 2 years ago, but that was insane. And so, I'm lucky to call her a friend now.
Do you still take people's muffins, and what's your favorite flavor?
Oh my God, dude, someone gifted me muffins. They're in my kitchen right now because of this exact thing. And that's so funny you say that. Favorite flavor of muffin? Dude, that muffin that I stole from her, it was orange cranberry, which is absolutely a crazy muffin flavor. So I would probably even say that. Like, they were so good. That's probably why I stole them. If they were blueberry or chocolate chip, I would not have cared. But dude, I'm still a little thief. Literally last night, I'm a sicko. Megan, my fiance, had a cannoli that she was saving, and I ate it at like midnight. I don't know what's wrong with me, bro. I'm a fiend for sweets. So she woke up and dude, it's so random. She woke up and she was like, "Where's my cannoli?" I was like, "Bro, I stole it." So I'm still a sicko.
We were just talking about Jasmine as someone that you keep in touch with. On the other side of the coin, someone you did not mention you keep in touch with is Paloma. So when Paloma left the game, you, along with the rest of the house, were bawling, crying. You posted on Twitter the other day how embarrassing that moment was for you. So can you talk a little bit about that moment and how you feel about it looking back?
Yeah, totally. So like the video of it that everybody's doing is so embarrassing that 8 million people have probably seen that across the country. It is crazy, especially when like you see Kenny and he's complaining about Matt, and I'm like, bro, you've known each other for like a day. Who cares? But I will say, from my perspective, I wasn't in any. I don't even think I had a single DR until episode 4. Like, I was not in that show for the first few episodes. I just wasn't in any storylines. I wasn't talking much game. And so, from my perspective, not being in any alliances other than one with like Pooch, I was like, oh yeah, Paloma, she's not in any of these alliances, and she's having a really hard time. And literally, like, to the point where I thought she was going to get 5150 when she left the house, which I mean, I've never really said up until a reply on Twitter the other day. But like, I took it so seriously, and from my perspective, obviously she was doing a whole lot of shit in the house, like with Taylor, with this, with that. I had no idea any of that was going on. I didn't know there was a girls or beef in the house. I was like, oh yeah, everyone's kumbaya. And I had a clip of me like licking my elbow on the show to Alyssa. I didn't think anything was happening. So, but I saw she was having a really hard time, and I considered her a good friend at that moment. It was really hard on me. And also, I will say, like, I was unwell that first week. I missed my girlfriend, now fiance, so much. Like, dude, I would have cried at anything. So in retrospect, it's very embarrassing because it's so dramatic. It's like, chill out, especially, oh my God, dude, like the clip of like me and Kyle, sorry about that vibration, me and Kyle like hugging about it. Oh, it's just so awful. But like, again, in retrospect, giving myself like leniency, like, I get what I was going through and I get why I was crying. But that does not take away from the fact that it is so over dramatic. It's like, just chill out, dude. You know what I mean?
And you said you didn't get any like DRs early. Maybe your first DR on the show might have been when you talked about Paloma leaving.
Dude, literally, I think that is what it was, because like, I remember like it was a week into the show and I didn't get any DRs, and everyone was like, yeah, I get called into the DR 3 times a day. And I'm like, bro, I haven't been in that damn room. So what's happening? And one time they called me, and I remember it was, dude, everyone was clapping. So like, yes, finally Turner gets in the DR. And they're like, hey, just we don't need you for anything. We just want you to leave your trucker hat on the seat because you can't wear it anymore. And I was like, dude, what the hell? First off, I was wearing that every day. And second off, like, no, like, what's happening in the game? I remember telling the producer, I was like, dude, clearly I'm left out of things, because what the hell? And he's like, no, don't worry about it. You're not left out of anything. It's just, how the show goes. I was like, oh, okay. That almost kind of put me on to like, something must be happening, but I didn't have the damn brain capacity to know what. So yeah, that was a weird week. But I found myself, I remember I get really into these like analytics of the seasons. And so I remember I saw the analytics of my season, and I ended up with the second most, right behind a couple DRs behind Taylor for the most DRs. So clearly I got woven into the story eventually, but it took me to win HOH week 3.
Well, you're able to go into DR without being called, though, right? Or is it only when they need you?
You can. They don't always accept you, but like you can click on the button right outside and they'll let you in. Sometimes be like, oh, we're busy. We'll call you in 20 minutes. Sometimes like, oh, we just can't talk. So it's a mixed bag, but a lot of the times they let you in. Just sometimes they're busy. And I didn't have much to say either. I was gonna be like, hey, I don't know what your plot point is, and I'm not in any alliances, but I need to give you a soundbite. Towards like later on when we were in alliances, I was like, dude, let me just rant for a minute. But like at the beginning, I had nothing to say.
Taylor made a comment last year that I want to get your opinion on, that she would go out to lunch with everybody on her cast except for 2 people. So who on your cast would you not go out to lunch with?
That is a good question. I would not go out to lunch with Daniel. I would not go out to lunch with Terrence, who...
And those are Taylor's still.
Yeah, I believe it. Last year, he made some like crazy homophobic comments about me. And then I will say, to his benefit, he apologized to me and said he was in a bad place. And I forgave him, but I still don't forget about those things. And I remember what he was saying about Taylor. He was like, yeah, you're bi because you got like molested as a kid. You might even need to bleep that out. I don't know. That's up to you. But like, I was
no,
like,
I mean like Daniel or Terrence.
Oh, Terrence. Sorry,
okay.
I didn't. But that's the comment he made, nevertheless. And he apologized, but it's like, bro, what are you thinking? And so them 2, no lunch. Everyone else, I'm happy to hang out with. Yeah.
Not to get into Daniel more, but I like when you retweet him on Twitter and just like, shut up, man. Like,
dude, he's just the worst. I know. It's like, bro, why are you even talking? It's like, he'll have a tweet and it'd be like some stupid opinion and I'll have like 1 like. It's like, shut up, no one cares. Yeah, and also when I'm not gonna lie, when I say no one cares and it gets like 6,000 likes, I'm like, all right, I gotta pump one of these in every now and then. And then I had a brand deal that was based off impressions, and I was like, all right, I can get impressions here. And so I made one a couple of months ago. It's always a good Twitter boost when I do that, and it's a lot of fun for no reason.
So you mentioned that you don't really watch any other shows, but have you been asked to do any other shows? We saw like Amira, Alyssa, and Monty do the Challenge USA. Would you be interested in doing the Challenge or any other show?
Yeah, I would do anything I was asked to do, honestly. I mean, I'm very busy with like now that I do content creation full time, but like I would do any show. And yeah, I was in casting for the Challenge, the one that Amira, Monty, and Alyssa were on. And then, we were making our headway. I remember me and Amira were in Honduras together. We were talking about it. And then after that, they just stopped hitting me up. And I was like, why not me? I was still 3rd. Like, come on, why are you making all these other decisions? Not to call anyone out, but I was like, what happened here? And I know that a lot of it is based on, they need a gender split of a certain amount, understandably. And so all of that, and I just didn't fit in the puzzle. And I was like, oh, next year. But then it's canceled. So who knows? But with that being said, I would do any show I was asked to go on. And then I saw one of the casting people in Big Brother the other day was like, I don't know why these shows are stealing our old castmates. It's like, bro, like, you don't own these people. Like, chill out. If they want to go on another show, who cares? But that is also a person who like changed my life. So whatever. But yeah, I'd do anything I was asked to.
Yeah, I mean, not to shade Amira, but she was 3rd boot and you got 3rd place. So
that was what I was thinking. Yeah. And then with peace and love, she got out very early in that season, but again, I consider her a good friend. I just don't get the casting choice, but whatever. I think I would have even done good on that season. I'm very like nimble and athletic. I won a good amount of comps in my seasons, and granted, like competition on Big Brother are way different than comps on the Challenge, but I feel like I would actually do surprisingly well on the show. And maybe I'm just like hyping myself up too much, but I feel like I would do good.
And Joseph, I think he was an alternate for that season too, right?
Yeah, he was an alternate. Yeah, he would have done amazing on that show. I just don't get it. Like, it doesn't make sense. He's obviously like the archetype for jacked male dude. Like, why not? I don't know. I don't get it, but clearly they had, well, I was gonna say clearly they had something good in mind, but also that season didn't do well and it got canceled, so fuck them.
and again, not to shade Monty, but I mean, people would have been more excited to see Joseph than Monty, so.
Yeah, I feel like a Joseph Turner combo people would have tuned in for that more than watching Monty. And I say that being friends with Monty. So who knows? So
is the Challenge the only show that's called you?
Actually, yeah, that's the only show that has been in contact with me ever, and they ghosted me. So maybe I have I'll say like very briefly, I have less traditional shows, nothing to do with reality shows that I have been in talks with and actively am, but nothing to do with like reality or game shows or anything like that.
How has your personal life or your career been impacted by your time on Big Brother?
Oh, dude, what a good question. It's all different. Like right after the show, again, I mentioned this earlier, but I owned a thrift store. And I just remember after Big Brother, I walked into the thrift store and I was like, I don't know. Just, I remember one time I backpacked throughout, like across China, Bali, Indonesia, Vietnam. And then I went back and I was in college and I was like, I can't like learn things and just sit here after having an experience like that. And I felt the same way. And that probably an awful way to think. I'm just always on to the next thing. And so then when I got back from Big Brother and I got back in my thrift store, I was like, I don't know, I'd rather just sell this business and do something else with my time. And I didn't even know what that was. That was before I made any furniture. And now that's my full-time job, really. So I was able to transition into being a creator full time, and that like is a risk. Not everybody gets out of the house and keeps growing. A lot of people, they get out of the house, they want to be an influencer, and their career tanks, and then they have to stop because like it's hard to keep momentum on social, especially after your boost is from Big Brother. You can't always talk like if you're a Big Brother alum, you can't always be talking about Big Brother. It's like, bro, move on. So with that being said, now I do furniture building and I'm an Instagram and TikTok content creator full time. And like I lived in like a shoebox apartment before, and now I have a huge, beautiful loft, and I'm engaged. So, you know, life is incredible, and it always will show you. Like I remember right before Big Brother, I had no idea really what I was doing, and then, you know, I'm not very religious, but something happened. I don't know what it was, but like everything ends up working out.
And I guess the influencing is working out because you have a huge following. You have like 290K.
Yes, I'm about at 300K. I'm so excited, and hopefully this bench will get me there. And then I have a huge collab coming next month. I can't say who it is, but it's crazy. And the influencing content creation, I should say, has worked wonders. And I'm glad I took that risk. Like, it doesn't work out for everybody, but I put like 24/7 into this career. So, I still got to figure out YouTube. That's the one thing I need to figure out still.
Yeah, when you were putting out YouTube videos, I was definitely watching those first few ones you put out. Like Big Brother people take over my life or something like that. You did that video?
Yes, dude. Those are so fun to make. And like, that was when I hadn't really found my niche. And so when I was focusing on like Big Brother related YouTube videos, they did so good. Like that vlog of me, Taylor, and Joseph in Canada, which I'm even glad I made just so I can watch it back. Got like 100K plus views. Same with like my unboxing of that box. So it did really well. And now I have a little like base there, and I'm about to start transitioning into making like long form woodworking content, which there's probably zero crossover there, but my last video did well in my apartment tour, so it's all like a trial and error game.
And I thought Taylor would always be the person with the biggest following from your season. So do you like consider yourself as like the most famous person from your season if you have the biggest following?
That is a funny question. I guess. I mean, okay, here's the thing. Like, Taylor, very good friend of mine. Nothing but respect for her. She is the best. But she, as far as like fame levels go, we're all like freaking Zila celebrities. Who cares? But like, she has more influence for an influencer, I think, than I do. She's going to the Kids' Choice Awards. She's like partnered with Lay, so she's doing that. And I think there's two different sides. So I have a bigger follower count than she does, but I think she has more influence as an influencer than I do. So it's all a game. There's different like side quests of being a content creator, and I think she has one and I have another. But yeah, all respect and all love to her. She's the GOAT.
You already mentioned it, but something else that changed in your personal life since Big Brother was that you and the Megan Belmonte got engaged. So do you guys have wedding plans?
Yeah, so we finally like started narrowing in on a date. Just weddings are so expensive, and we didn't really know what we wanted to do, and whether it's like familial issues or just like figuring out a venue or whatever, it's tough. So right now we're leaning towards this upcoming May, and so we got to start planning on that. But that's our goal, and we're thinking about Newport, Rhode Island, which we live in Rhode Island now, so it'll be very fitting. And I want to get married. We started dating on Cinco de Mayo 5 or 6 years ago, and so that's my goal, is to have our wedding on the same date. I know, so romantic, but yeah, that's my goal. So this upcoming May 5th is what I want.
I'll clear my calendar now.
Yes, perfect. You'll get an invite, and yeah, some Big Brother co-stars will get an invite too. Not all of them, but we're gonna have a relatively small wedding. But like Joseph is one of my best men, so he'll be up there with me, which is very sweet. And then we have some other invites. Like we're gonna invite Jasmine. We're gonna invite Taylor. I don't know who else. Oh, and Alyssa Schneider. That might be it. I don't know, but about that.
Do you have any advice for future house guests based on your experience?
I guess like as far as being in the house, I guess that's not really where I thrived. I feel like I really thrived outside the house, funny enough. So just when you get outside the house, I will say, like, don't take any of the hate too seriously. There's people who love you, there's people who hate you. There's millions of people who are never gonna follow you on Twitter or Instagram or like look at your stuff that just, that like you a lot. And so it's not all about like what people say online. I'm like my personality on different social medias could not be further from like my Instagram has literally the opposite vibe of my Twitter. I'm a little demon there. So like it's all just about having fun. Don't take yourself too seriously. I feel like that's when people have a downfall is out of the house. It's like, oh, people are hating on you and you're just like, dude, just chill. Who cares? Like just do your own thing, have fun with it. And I feel like that's the best way to go about it because I remember some house guests, they like got out of the house and they were getting hate and they've never gotten online hate before. So they didn't know how to deal with it. And I was like the king of getting online hate. So I was like, dude, it's so unserious. Who cares? So just don't fall into that, which is very easy to.
As far as content creating, do you have any advice for me? Because I'm about to get 50,000 followers. Do you have any content creating advice for me?
Let's see. Well, I've wondered one thing, and I asked this with Peace and Love, of course. What's the deal with the background? What's happening there?
Should I have a different background?
I feel like the blurred fake background, it's just giving anonymous hacker. I don't know. I feel like a fun real background would be better, but that's to each their own. That's my only real piece of advice that I've wondered about your setup before. So, but is there a reason? Is it just messy back there? Who knows?
I've never thought of doing any kind of virtual background, but I could definitely look into that for my next interview. My next interview next week is with Big D. So.
Oh hell yeah, that's sick. That's my guy. That's cool. Maybe an Elgato light at Best Buy on you, and then maybe a fun thing in the background. Who knows? But that's I've always wondered what's behind you. So now maybe I'll see next week.
So you think that'll be what'll put my page over the top, just as Zoom background?
Yeah, that, and if you start making corner bench tutorials, you can get into both, of course.
I'll share your videos on my page.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome.
So would you play Big Brother again?
Yeah, if I was asked to, like if there was a returnee season and they asked, granted, there was a returnee season, I don't necessarily know that they'd ask. Granted, I was shocked that I was asked to do 2 HOH comps last year. Like I did the voiceover for one, and then they included me in like a comic one. So I was surprised by that, but I would also be equally surprised if they asked me to come back. Because I feel like, dude, if anyone's coming back, Michael. Why not Michael? He's so like, it's such a B-set comp. So, but if they were looking for a their hippie person, whatever guy on the show, then and they picked me, I'd be like, sure, let's run it back up.
Would you do reindeer games? Do you watch reindeer games?
Oh my God, yeah, I would actually love to be asked to do reindeer games. I loved watching that. It was so cool. So again, do I think they would ever ask me? No. But if they did, would I say yes instantly? Absolutely.
And it's such a short commitment, and it's pre-filmed, and so it's completely different than regular Big Brother.
Exactly. Even if they asked me to be one of those elves, I would take an elf role. It sounds sick.
Who is your Big Brother 26 winner pick?
So who I want to win is Takor and Quinn. Do I necessarily think they will win? I don't know, but that's who I'm rooting for the most. I really don't even know who I think will win. I've never gotten a winner pick right. Like my first season watching live was 21. So I'm like the opposite of you. I forget who I picked there, but I've never been right about who I thought was going to win. So, I don't know who will, but I want it to be Quinn or Takor.
Do you have any upcoming projects or events that you're excited to share with your fans?
Oh, yeah. I showed you this, but this corner bench, I'm dropping a video on how to build this as a loft episode with my fiance. This fun clay-looking hold-up bench. That's coming in a couple days. And then I have a really big collab. I don't know if you ever heard of the Gufram Praton chair. It's a big piece of grass, and it's a lounge chair, and they go for like 20-something thousand, and I'm building tutorial on that, collabing with a brand. Really excited about that. So just DIY projects on Instagram. That's really what I've been doing the past year, and it's been great. So more of that.
And my last question that a lot of my audience said I had to ask you: when was the last time you showered?
Dude, yeah, finale night, BB24. I haven't showered since. It's crazy. Actually, no, I showered an hour ago because of this interview, I mean, actually not because of anything. I shower every day. What can I say? But we're all clean. And I still subscribe to the thought. Dude, this is crazy. Why am I even getting back into this? Dude, if you don't like sweat, why not shower? Like, dude, why not shower every other day? Who cares? But no, I shower every day. Never a day I take a break. I couldn't even imagine it.
All right, Turner, this was so much fun. Thanks for joining me today. It's a pleasure to catch up with you, get your insights in the game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, it was so much fun. Anytime you want me on, I love supporting Big Brother creators, and you're my guy, so we're locked in.
Awesome. Thank you, Turner.